I'm a working mother who faces challenges in balancing my career and family responsibilities. I navigate the guilt, stress, and joy of motherhood while pursuing my professional goals. Before we begin, I want to thank each of you for being part of this journey. If these stories are empowering you, subscribe for free, and let's build this community together. Let's get started. They say motherhood changes everything, but nobody tells you it changes nothing at all. I'm Sarah Martinez, and I've been living this contradiction for 3 years now, ever since my daughter Emma was born, and I realized that the world expects you to transform completely while somehow remaining exactly the same person who earned that promotion, closed that deal, and impressed that client. It's 5:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in October, and I'm standing in my kitchen in Westchester County, New York, making coffee with one hand while bouncing my 3-year-old daughter Emma on my hip with the other. She's been awake since 5:15, chattering about the dream she had where all her stuffed animals could talk, and they were planning a tea party in our backyard. My husband Jake is still asleep upstairs. He doesn't need to be at the hospital until 8:30, and honestly, one of us deserves to get a full night's sleep. "Mommy, why are you making the sad coffee?" Emma asks, and I realize I've been staring blankly at the coffee maker for who knows how long. "It's not sad coffee, sweetheart. Mommy's just tired." "Are you tired because you worked on your computer after I went to bed?" Out of the mouths of babes. Yes, I worked on my computer after she went to bed. I worked until midnight, actually, reviewing contracts for the pharmaceutical company that's been my biggest client for the past 2 years. The same pharmaceutical company that's expecting a presentation on Thursday that could secure a partnership worth $12 million. The same presentation I haven't finished because my days are consumed with Emma's needs, and my evenings disappear into laundry, meal prep, and the endless administrative tasks that keep a household running. I'm a corporate lawyer specializing in FDA regulations and pharmaceutical compliance. Before Emma, I was the associate everyone wanted on their team, the one who stayed late, traveled without complaint, and had an encyclopedic knowledge of drug approval processes. I billed 2,800 hours a year and felt proud of every single one of them. Now I work part-time from home, theoretically, though part-time in law means 40 hours instead of 80, and from home means stealing moments between snack time and nap time, and the constant, beautiful, exhausting demands of a toddler who needs me to explain why water is wet and where the sun goes at night. My colleague and closest friend Jessica calls just as I'm strapping Emma into her car seat for the drive to daycare. Jessica doesn't have children. By choice, she's always been clear about that. And sometimes I envy her clarity. She knows exactly who she is and what she wants, while I feel like I'm constantly shifting between versions of myself that don't quite fit together. "Sarah, thank God you're up," Jessica says, and I can hear the familiar sound of her brewing espresso in the background. She lives in a pristine Manhattan apartment where everything is white and glass and perfectly arranged. "Morrison wants to move the Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals meeting to tomorrow. Can you have the compliance analysis ready by 5 p.m. today?" I close my eyes and lean against my car. Emma is singing a song about dinosaurs in the back seat, completely oblivious to the fact that her mother's career might be imploding in real time. "Jessica, that's impossible. I haven't even finished the primary research, and Emma has a doctor's appointment this afternoon. Can't Jake take her?" "Jake's covering the emergency room today. He won't be home until after midnight." There's a pause, and I can practically hear Jessica's internal monologue. "This is why I don't have kids. This is why women with children can't compete. This is why the partnership track exists for people like me, and not people like you." "Okay," she says finally. "I'll see if I can get Morrison to accept a preliminary analysis and push the full presentation to Friday. But Sarah, you know this is a make-or-break opportunity. Pinnacle is the kind of client that could set us up for the next decade." After I hang up, I sit in my driveway for a moment, watching Emma kick her feet happily while singing about friendly dinosaurs. She's wearing a purple dress with unicorns on it and rain boots because she insisted it might rain, even though the sky is perfectly clear. Her hair is in uneven pigtails because she wanted to help, and there's already a small stain on her dress from the strawberry she ate while I was getting dressed. She's perfect and chaotic, and completely dependent on me for everything, and I love her with a fierce protectiveness that sometimes scares me. But I also miss the person I used to be. The woman who could work until 2 a.m. because she felt like it, who could take business trips without coordinating childcare, who could have impromptu drinks with colleagues without calculating the cost of babysitting. "Mommy, are we going to school now?" "Yes, baby, we're going to school now." The drive to Emma's daycare takes 15 minutes on a good day, but today there's construction on Route 9, and we're stuck in traffic while Emma provides a running commentary on every car, truck, and motorcycle we pass. By the time I drop her off, I'm already running late for the phone conference I scheduled for 9 a.m. with a regulatory consultant in California. Emma's teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, is one of those naturally maternal women who seems to genuinely love being surrounded by tiny humans all day. She greets Emma with the kind of enthusiasm that makes me both grateful and slightly jealous. Grateful that my daughter is loved and cared for. Jealous that someone else gets to see her discoveries and meltdowns and small triumphs throughout the day. "Have a good day at work, Sarah," Mrs. Rodriguez says, and there's no judgment in her tone, but I hear it anyway. Have a good day prioritizing your career over your child. Have a good day missing the moments that matter. Have a good day pretending you can have it all. The drive home is silent, except for the news on the radio. Something about pharmaceutical companies and FDA investigations that I should probably be paying attention to, but my mind is already racing through the day ahead. Conference call at 9, review 3 contracts before noon, draft the preliminary analysis for Jessica, pick up Emma at 3:30, doctor's appointment at 4:15, home by 5:30 if we're lucky, dinner, bath time, bedtime stories, and then back to work until I fall asleep at my laptop. This is my life now, and most days I'm grateful for it. I have meaningful work that pays well, a healthy, happy daughter, and a supportive husband who does his share of parenting and housework. I know I'm luckier than most women, luckier than my mother was when she raised 3 kids in the 1980s, with no career and no financial independence. I know I'm living the feminist dream of having both family and professional fulfillment. So why do I feel like I'm failing at both? The house is quiet when I get home, but it's not peaceful. It's the kind of quiet that feels like a held breath, full of tension and unfinished tasks. There are breakfast dishes in the sink, Emma's pajamas on the living room floor, and a stack of unopened mail on the kitchen counter that's been growing for a week. I have exactly 3 hours before I need to leave to pick up Emma, and in those 3 hours, I need to transform into the kind of lawyer I used to be all the time. Sharp, focused, completely present in the complex world of pharmaceutical regulations and corporate compliance. I pour another cup of coffee, stronger this time, and sit down at my kitchen table, which serves as my office now. My laptop is surrounded by Emma's art projects and a plastic dinosaur that somehow migrated from her room. For a moment, I let myself imagine what it would be like to have a real office again, a place where I could spread out documents, take calls without worrying about background noise, think complex thoughts without interruption. But then I remember Emma's face this morning when she saw a butterfly land on our car windshield, the way her eyes went wide with wonder, and she whispered, "Mommy, look! It's saying hello to us." And I remember that in 6 months, she'll be bigger, more independent, less likely to see magic in butterflies. I'm missing things, yes, but I'm also here for things that matter in ways I couldn't have understood before I became a mother. My phone buzzes with a text from Jake. "Surgery running long. Won't be home until late. Sorry, babe. You've got this." I stare at the message for a moment, feeling the familiar mixture of love and resentment that defines so much of modern motherhood. I love that Jake supports my career, that he's never suggested I should quit working to focus on Emma full-time. But I also resent that his support consists mainly of cheerful encouragement from the sidelines, while I do the actual work of balancing everything. He doesn't have to leave work early for doctor's appointments. He doesn't have to field calls from daycare when Emma has a fever. He doesn't lie awake at night wondering if he's damaging our daughter by working or damaging his career by parenting. His identity is more complex now that he's a father, but it's not fractured the way mine feels. The conference call goes well, surprisingly. The regulatory consultant has good news about some recent FDA guidance that could simplify the approval process for one of my client's new drugs. For 45 minutes, I'm completely absorbed in the intricacies of clinical trial requirements and manufacturing standards. I'm the lawyer I used to be, the one who could hold complex regulatory frameworks in her head and spot potential problems before they became actual problems. But then Emma's daycare calls. She's running a fever and needs to be picked up immediately. The carefully constructed day I'd planned crumbles instantly, and I'm back to being a mother first, lawyer second, person somewhere down the list. "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Martinez," the daycare director says. "Emma's temperature is 101.5, and our policy requires that children be fever-free for 24 hours before returning." I'm already grabbing my keys, already calculating. Pick up Emma now, cancel the 2 p.m. client call, reschedule the doctor's appointment, email Jessica about the analysis, figure out childcare for tomorrow if Emma's still sick. The mental load of motherhood isn't just about the tasks themselves. It's about the constant contingency planning, the endless backup plans for your backup plans. Emma is sitting in the daycare office looking small and flushed, clutching the stuffed elephant she brings everywhere. When she sees me, her face lights up despite feeling sick. "Mommy, I knew you would come get me." And there it is, the simple, absolute trust that both sustains and terrifies me. Emma knows with complete certainty that I will always come when she needs me. She doesn't understand about important client meetings or career-defining presentations. She just knows that when she's sick and scared, Mommy appears. The drive home is quiet, except for Emma's occasional sniffles and requests for water. I call Jake from the car, hands-free, because even in crisis mode, I'm still careful about safety, and get his voicemail. I call Jessica and get her voicemail too. I'm entirely on my own, which is nothing new but still feels overwhelming. At home, I set Emma up on the couch with her favorite blanket, some children's Tylenol, and a lineup of Disney movies. She falls asleep within an hour, her fever breaking as she naps. I sit beside her, laptop balanced on my knees, trying to draft the compliance analysis while keeping one eye on her breathing, one ear tuned for any change in her condition. This is my life. Divided attention, multitasking everything, never fully present anywhere. I'm a mediocre lawyer when I'm worried about Emma, and I'm a distracted mother when I'm thinking about work. The myth of having it all assumes you can be fully committed to multiple things simultaneously, but the reality is that you're partially committed to everything, which sometimes feels like being committed to nothing. By the time Jake gets home at 11 p.m., I've managed to finish a rough draft of the analysis. Emma's fever is completely gone, and I'm exhausted in that bone-deep way that comes from a day of constant vigilance and worry. Jake finds me in the kitchen, cleaning up the dinner dishes Emma and I barely touched. "How's our girl?" he asks, kissing my forehead. "Better. Fever broke around 3. She'll probably be fine tomorrow, but I'll keep her home just to be sure." "And how are you?" It's a simple question, but I don't have a simple answer. I'm tired. I'm stressed about work. I'm worried about Emma. I'm grateful for my family and my career, and the privilege of choice that so many women don't have. I'm angry at a system that demands women be perfect mothers and perfect employees simultaneously. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, and terrified that it's not enough. I'm fine, I say, because it's easier than trying to explain the contradiction of loving your life while feeling like you're drowning in it. But as I fall asleep that night, Emma curled up between Jake and me because she's still feeling clingy from being sick. I realize that fine might actually be a lie I've been telling myself for months. Maybe it's time to admit that something needs to change. The next morning brings clarity in the worst possible way. Emma wakes up completely healthy and full of energy, which means she can go to daycare, which means I have no excuse for not delivering the compliance analysis that could make or break the Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals deal. Except the analysis I stayed up until 2 a.m. working on is garbage, rushed, incomplete, missing 3 crucial regulatory citations that any first-year associate would have caught. I'm sitting in my kitchen office at 6 a.m., frantically trying to salvage my work while Emma eats cereal and asks increasingly complex questions about why cartoon characters don't age and whether our cat dreams in color. Jake left for the hospital an hour ago, pausing only to kiss us both goodbye and remind me that he believes in me. His confidence feels like pressure rather than support this morning. "Mommy, why are you making angry faces at your computer?" I look up to find Emma studying me with the unnerving perceptiveness that 3-year-olds possess. She's right. I am making angry faces at my computer, at the inadequate analysis on my screen, at the impossible situation I've created for myself by trying to be everything to everyone. I'm not angry, sweetheart. I'm just concentrating very hard. Are you concentrating about work? Yes. Do you like work? The question stops me cold. Do I like work? I used to love it. I used to get genuinely excited about regulatory puzzles, the intellectual satisfaction of navigating complex legal frameworks, the thrill of closing a difficult deal. Now work feels like one more thing demanding my attention while I'm already stretched too thin. I like my work, I tell Emma, but sometimes it's very hard. Like when I'm trying to tie my shoes? Exactly like that. After I drop Emma at daycare, I drive to Jessica's Manhattan office instead of going home. I need to work somewhere without distractions, somewhere that feels professional and serious. Jessica's firm occupies 3 floors of a gleaming midtown building, all glass and steel and expensive furniture. Walking through the lobby, I remember what it felt like to belong in places like this completely, without reservation or apology. Jessica is in her office by 7:30, already dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit, her hair in a sleek chignon that probably took 5 minutes but looks effortless. She's reviewing documents while eating Greek yogurt from a glass bowl. Even her breakfast looks sophisticated. "Sarah, thank God! Please tell me you have something brilliant for Morrison." I hand her a printed copy of my analysis, watching her face as she scans the first page. Her expression doesn't change, but I know her well enough to recognize disappointment in the slight tightening around her eyes. "This is a good start," she says diplomatically. "It's terrible," I say. "Emma was sick yesterday, and I couldn't focus, and I know this isn't the quality of work you expect from me. Everyone has off days. Jessica, I've been having off days for 3 years. Ever since Emma was born, I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for not being the lawyer I used to be." She sets down the analysis and looks at me with something that might be sympathy or might be pity. "Sarah, you know I respect what you're trying to do. Balancing motherhood and career is incredibly challenging, but this partnership opportunity with Pinnacle, it's not going to wait for you to figure out your work-life balance." Work-life balance. The phrase makes me want to scream, as if work and life are separate things that can be measured and distributed equally, rather than competing demands that exist in constant tension. As if the solution to feeling overwhelmed is simply better time management rather than a fundamental restructuring of how society supports working parents. "What if I came back full-time?" I hear myself asking. "Just temporarily, until we secure the Pinnacle contract." Jessica's face brightens immediately. "Sarah, that would be amazing. We could really use your expertise on this. And honestly, having you back in the office full-time would solve a lot of logistical problems." The words hang between us, and I realize what I've just committed to. Full-time means 60-hour weeks minimum. It means business trips and late client dinners and weekend work sessions. It means finding full-time childcare for Emma and hoping Jake can cover the gaps. It means becoming the kind of mother I swore I'd never be, the kind who prioritizes career success over daily presence in her child's life. But it also means doing work I'm genuinely good at, contributing to something meaningful, earning the kind of money that could secure Emma's college fund and our family's financial future. It means being seen as a serious professional again, not just someone who's dabbling in law between diaper changes and parent-teacher conferences. "Let me talk to Jake," I say. "I'll let you know by tomorrow." The conversation with Jake that evening is harder than I expected. Emma is already in bed, and we're sitting on our couch with glasses of wine, having the kind of serious discussion that feels like it might change everything. "Full time," Jake repeats, and I can see him processing the implications. That's a big change. "It's temporary, just until we secure this contract. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year." "What about Emma? She's been with you part-time since birth. How do you think she'll handle you being gone 12 hours a day?" The question hits like a physical blow, because I've been avoiding thinking about it. Emma is used to having me available, to knowing that I'll pick her up from daycare by 3:30, that I'll be there for afternoon snacks and playground visits, and the gradual unwinding that leads to dinner and bath time. She's used to having a mother who's present, not just physically, but emotionally available. "Kids are adaptable," I say, echoing something I read in a parenting magazine. "And you're an amazing father. You could handle more of the daily routine." "Sarah, I'm working 12-hour shifts at the hospital. I can't just suddenly become the primary parent." "So what are you saying? That I should give up this opportunity because it's inconvenient for your schedule?" "That's not what I'm saying." Jake sets down his wine glass and turns to face me fully. "I'm saying that we need to think this through carefully. Emma needs consistency. You need to be realistic about what you can handle. And we need to consider whether the financial benefits are worth the emotional costs. The financial benefits could change our entire future. Emma's college fund, our retirement, your student loans. We're not struggling financially, Sarah. We're comfortable. This isn't about necessity, it's about ambition." The word hangs between us like an accusation. Ambition. As if wanting professional success is somehow selfish when you're a mother. As if caring about your career means you don't care enough about your family. "You're ambitious about your career," I point out. "No one questions whether your professional goals are worth pursuing. Because I was ambitious about my career before we had Emma. I didn't suddenly decide to ramp up my professional commitments when our daughter needed stability. So, I'm supposed to be grateful for the scraps of career I can manage around Emma's schedule? I'm supposed to accept being a mediocre lawyer because being a good mother means professional sacrifice. You're not a mediocre lawyer. You're a lawyer who's also a devoted mother, and there's nothing mediocre about that." But his words feel like consolation rather than truth. I know my work has suffered since Emma was born. I know I'm not operating at the level I'm capable of, and it's slowly eating away at my sense of professional identity. I studied law for 7 years, worked my way up in a competitive field, built expertise that clients value. And now I feel like I'm wasting it because I can't commit the time and energy necessary to do it well. That night, I lie awake thinking about my mother, who gave up her teaching career when I was born and never went back. She raised 3 children with patience and creativity, volunteering at our schools, and managing our household with the efficiency of a corporate executive. But sometimes, I caught her staring out the kitchen window with an expression I couldn't identify, a look of longing for something she'd left behind. When I was in college, she told me she had no regrets about choosing family over career. "Being your mother was the most important job I ever had," she said. But she also encouraged me to pursue law school with an intensity that suggested she was living vicariously through my professional ambitions. Now I understand that expression in her eyes. It was the look of someone who loved her life, but grieved for the person she might have been. It was the look of someone who made the best choice available to her, but couldn't help wondering about the path not taken. I don't want Emma to see that expression on my face 20 years from now. The next morning, I call Jessica before Emma wakes up. "I'll do it," I say. "Full-time starting Monday. But I need 4 weeks to arrange childcare and transition Emma gradually." "Sarah, that's fantastic. Morrison is going to be thrilled. We can finally staff this properly and give Pinnacle the attention they deserve." After I hang up, I sit in my kitchen, feeling like I've just made either the best or worst decision of my life. Emma appears in her pajamas, hair sticking up at impossible angles, dragging her stuffed elephant behind her. "Good morning, Mommy." "Good morning, baby. Are we going to have breakfast together?" "Yes, we're going to have breakfast together." What I don't tell her is that in 4 weeks, our morning routine will change completely. I'll leave for work before she wakes up, and Jake will handle breakfast and the drive to daycare. I'll see her for maybe an hour in the evening before her bedtime, and weekends will become the only time for meaningful mother-daughter connection. I don't tell her this because I can't bear to see the confusion in her eyes when she realizes that mommy's work has become more important than mommy's time with her. I don't tell her because I'm not sure I believe it myself. The childcare arrangements take on the complexity of a military operation. Jake and I spend hours creating schedules, backup plans, and contingency protocols that account for every possible scenario. What if Emma gets sick? What if Jake's shift runs long? What if I have to travel for business? What if the nanny calls in sick? We interview 7 potential nannies before finding Maria, a 40-something woman from Honduras who raised 4 children of her own and has 15 years of experience with American families. She's warm but professional, patient but firm, and Emma takes to her immediately. When Maria suggests they bake cookies together during their trial afternoon, Emma claps her hands and declares her the best nanny in the whole world. She'll be fine, Jake assures me as we watch Emma and Maria building block towers in our living room. Kids are more resilient than we think. But I see the way Emma keeps checking to make sure I'm still there. The way she insists on showing me every block tower and cookie decoration. She senses that something is changing, and her clinginess feels like a reproach. Jessica, meanwhile, is in full professional mode, sending me reading materials and scheduling catch-up meetings to bring me up to speed on cases I've missed. The Pinnacle contract has expanded in scope. They're not just looking for regulatory compliance support, but comprehensive legal services for their entire product pipeline. It's the kind of opportunity that could establish our firm as a major player in pharmaceutical law. This could be career-defining for both of us, Jessica tells me over lunch at a sleek restaurant near her office. Morrison is talking about promoting one of us to senior partner if we land this contract. Senior partner. The words send a thrill through me that I haven't felt in years. Senior partner means financial security, professional recognition, the kind of career achievement I dreamed about in law school. It also means even longer hours, more travel, higher stakes, and greater pressure. What about work-life balance? I ask, and Jessica laughs. Sarah, senior partners don't have work-life balance. They have work and they have life, and work usually wins. But that's the trade-off for this level of success. I think about Emma's face when I explained that Mommy would be working more, but that Maria would take excellent care of her. Emma nodded solemnly and asked if working more meant I loved her less. The question broke my heart, but it also revealed the impossible logic that society imposes on working mothers. If you prioritize your career, you must not love your children enough. Do you ever regret not having kids? I ask Jessica. She considers the question seriously. Sometimes I wonder what I might be missing, but then I see what you're going through, the constant guilt, the impossible choices, the way motherhood seems to undermine everything else you're trying to accomplish, and I feel grateful for my clarity. You think motherhood undermines my career? I think our society is structured in a way that makes it nearly impossible for women to excel professionally and personally simultaneously. You're fighting a battle that's rigged against you, and you're beating yourself up for not winning easily. Her words sting because they're partially true. The professional world hasn't adapted to accommodate working mothers in any meaningful way. Clients still expect immediate responses to emails. Partners still schedule important meetings for 6 p.m. Business development still requires after-hours networking events. The expectation is that serious professionals will prioritize work above all else, and mothers who can't meet that expectation are seen as lacking commitment. But Jessica's perspective also feels limited. She sees the costs of motherhood clearly, but not the benefits. The way Emma's laughter can transform my worst day. The profound sense of purpose that comes from raising a human being. The unexpected strength I've discovered in myself as a mother. She sees me struggling and assumes the struggle isn't worth it. The night before I'm scheduled to return to full-time work, Emma has a meltdown at bedtime. She clings to me, sobbing that she doesn't want Maria to put her to bed, that she wants Mommy to stay home like before, that she's scared I won't come back. I'll always come back, I promise, rocking her in the chair where I used to nurse her as a baby. Even when I'm at work, I'm still your mommy, and I love you more than anything in the world. But why do you have to work so much? How do I explain to a 3-year-old that I'm working so much because I want to be the kind of woman she can be proud of? That I want to show her it's possible to be both a devoted mother and a successful professional? That I'm trying to build a career that will inspire her to dream big and work hard for what she wants? How do I explain that I'm also working so much because I'm terrified of disappearing into motherhood completely, of losing the part of myself that thinks and creates and contributes to the world beyond our home? That professional success feels like proof that I still exist as an individual, not just as Emma's mother and Jake's wife. I work because I want to help people, I tell her finally, and I work because I want to show you that mommies can do important things in the world. But I need you to do important things for me, too. The simplicity of her logic is devastating. From Emma's perspective, there's no competition between the importance of my work and the importance of being her mother. She needs me, and my presence is the most important thing I can give her. Everything else is secondary. Jake finds me crying in the hallway after Emma finally falls asleep. Second thoughts? He asks gently. Every thought is a second thought. I keep changing my mind about what's right for our family. What does your gut tell you? My gut tells me that there's no perfect choice. Every option involves sacrifice, and I'm terrified of sacrificing the wrong things. He holds me while I cry, and I'm grateful for his steady presence, even as I resent that he doesn't face the same impossible choices. His identity as a doctor doesn't conflict with his identity as a father, the way my professional ambitions seem to conflict with motherhood. Society expects him to be both a dedicated physician and a loving parent, while expecting me to choose between career success and maternal devotion. Maybe the problem isn't your choices, Jake says quietly. Maybe the problem is a system that forces women to choose between things they shouldn't have to choose between. His words feel like absolution, but they don't change the reality I'm facing. Tomorrow morning, I'll leave for work before Emma wakes up, and I'll come home after her bedtime. I'll spend 12 hours focused on pharmaceutical regulations while someone else handles the daily care of my daughter. I'll be pursuing my professional dreams while potentially damaging my relationship with the person I love most in the world. The first week back at full-time work is both exhilarating and exhausting. I remember why I loved law: the intellectual challenges, the satisfaction of solving complex problems, the adrenaline rush of high-stakes negotiations. Working with Jessica on the Pinnacle contract, I feel sharp and capable in ways I'd forgotten were possible. But the guilt is overwhelming. Emma cries every morning when I leave, and Maria has to distract her with special activities to help her transition. The evening phone calls from daycare about Emma's behavior changes, increased clinginess, occasional tantrums, requests for mommy throughout the day, feel like evidence that I'm damaging my daughter for the sake of my career ambitions. She's adjusting, Maria assures me. Children are stronger than parents think. She talks about you all day, how proud she is that her mommy helps people, how she's going to be a lawyer like you when she grows up. The idea that Emma might be proud of my work provides some comfort, but it doesn't eliminate the constant underlying anxiety that I'm failing as a mother. When I'm at work, I worry about Emma. When I'm with Emma, I worry about work. The integration I'd hoped for feels more like constant divided attention. Jessica notices my distraction during a particularly important client meeting. "You seemed checked out during the regulatory discussion," she says afterward. "Morrison specifically mentioned that you didn't contribute to the conversation about FDA timeline concerns." "I was listening. I just didn't have anything significant to add." "Sarah, this is the most important case of our careers. We can't afford for you to be operating at less than full capacity." Her criticism stings because it's valid. I'm operating at less than full capacity, but not by choice. I'm operating with part of my brain constantly monitoring my phone for calls from Emma's school, part of my emotional energy consumed by guilt and worry, part of my attention focused on logistics like pickup times and nanny schedules. I need a few weeks to fully transition back to this pace, I tell her. Emma's still adjusting to the new routine. How much time does she need? Because Pinnacle isn't going to wait for your daughter to feel comfortable with your work schedule. The conversation reveals the fundamental incompatibility between the demands of high-level legal work and the realities of motherhood. Jessica, despite being my friend, can't truly understand the emotional and logistical complexity of balancing these responsibilities. She sees my maternal concerns as professional weaknesses rather than natural aspects of being a working parent. That evening, I arrive home to find Emma and Maria making dinner together, something that used to be special time for Emma and me. Emma runs to greet me with flour-covered hands and a huge smile. "Mommy, we made pasta! Maria taught me how to crack eggs!" I should be happy that Emma is bonding with Maria, that she's learning new skills and having positive experiences during my absence. Instead, I feel jealous and replaced. Maria is becoming the primary adult in Emma's daily life, while I'm becoming the parent who shows up for brief, intense visits between work obligations. "That's wonderful, sweetheart," I say, lifting Emma into a hug that smells like flour and vanilla. "Tell me all about it." As Emma chatters about her day, I realize that Maria knows details about my daughter's life that I'm missing. She knows that Emma has learned to write her name in uppercase letters, that she's developed a fascination with cooking, that she's been asking questions about why some families have two mommies and others have two daddies. These discoveries should be mine. These conversations should be happening between Emma and me, not between Emma and the woman I'm paying to care for her. But this is the trade-off I've chosen: professional fulfillment in exchange for daily presence in my daughter's life. 3 months into my return to full-time work, something shifts. Emma stops crying when I leave for work and starts excitedly telling me about her plans with Maria. The transition that felt traumatic in the beginning has become routine, and my daughter's resilience amazes me. She's adapting in ways that I'm still struggling to manage. But the shift isn't entirely positive. Emma is learning independence in ways that feel premature to me. She can get dressed by herself, make simple snacks, and entertain herself for long periods. These are good skills, but they also represent a self-sufficiency born from necessity rather than natural development. She's becoming the kind of child who doesn't need her mother as much, and while that should make me proud, it mostly makes me sad. The Pinnacle contract, meanwhile, is progressing better than anyone expected. My analysis of their regulatory compliance issues identified potential problems that could have delayed their product launches by months. The solutions I've developed could save them millions of dollars and establish a framework for their entire pipeline. Jessica and I are being treated like rock stars by Morrison and the other partners. "Sarah, this is exceptional work," Morrison tells me during a partner meeting. The kind of analysis that establishes us as the premier pharmaceutical law firm in the region. Pinnacle is already asking about expanding our role in their regulatory strategy. The praise feels intoxicating after months of feeling professionally diminished. I'm reminded that I'm genuinely good at this work, that my expertise has value beyond my role as Emma's mother. But the success also comes with pressure to maintain this level of commitment permanently. "We're thinking about offering you the senior partner track," Morrison continues. "It would mean increased responsibilities, more travel, direct client management. But it would also mean financial rewards and professional recognition that reflect your contributions." Senior partner, the goal I've been working toward for 8 years, suddenly within reach. But also the end of any pretense at work-life balance, the final commitment to prioritizing career success above all else. "I need some time to consider it," I tell him, which is code for, I need to figure out whether my marriage and my relationship with my daughter can survive that level of professional commitment. The conversation with Jake that evening takes place after Emma is asleep, over glasses of wine that we both need more than usual. "Senior partner," he repeats. "That's huge, Sarah. Congratulations." I haven't accepted it yet. But you want to? Do I want to? The question seems simultaneously obvious and impossible to answer. Of course, I want professional recognition, financial success, the respect that comes with senior partnership. But I also want to be present for Emma's childhood, to maintain a marriage based on partnership rather than ships passing in the night, to have some portion of my life that isn't consumed by work demands. I want it, I say finally, but I'm not sure I can handle what it would require. What would it require? Essentially, unlimited availability for clients, regular travel, weekend work sessions, the kind of commitment that makes everything else secondary. Jake is quiet for a long moment, and I can see him processing the implications. More responsibility for Emma's daily care. More solo parenting when I travel. More evenings and weekends managing household logistics while I focus on work.